Light this candle. Technical difficulties, my ass, is what I say.
As soon as I reach out to you, bullshit. Like, dude, here's the thing. I'm doing stuff. I'm on the phone. I'm on the computer. Everything goes out. So I think, whatever. It'll come back on. I'm not good with internet and stuff, but I know since I didn't do anything, my head's telling me it just went out in the air. It's not me, right? It's not me. But instead, I go down, I check the connections, I'm pulling, because I'm thinking maybe. Finally had to call Fios, and they're like, yes, we will call you back in the next 30 minutes to an hour. Okay.
To tell you how long it's going to be. So yeah, Melinda and I, we're starting the show a little bit late today, but it doesn't no matter to the viewer as you're watching it when you're watching it. But she's having a Wi-Fi internet connection. Now we're doing a cell phone. That's why her picture is a little bit different than she usually is. And that's why my head looks like it's gigantic compared to her, perfect little body and head.
Well, it made me recognize I don't do well when I'm feeling out of control. And it very much made me feel out of control because I couldn't do anything about it. And then I was trying to connect to you. So I guess I should make that a topic eventually. I don't like being out of control. I don't like it at all.
You know what? That's interesting. Define out of control. By the way, my name's Tom Wise.
I'm Melinda McKinsey. We're going to unpack some shit with you today, which we started way early. And I'm sorry to probably be talking about things people are like, who cares? Get to the topic.
Get to the topics, bitch. And I'm talking to the guy in the checkered shirt.
Right? I love that you're known for your checkered shirt. I did watch your show. And of course, Helen talked about your checkered shirt, which I thought was hilarious.
That thing was crushing it. That we were doing, they wanted to do $2,000 a minute. We were doing $6,000 a minute.
Of course you were. Of course you were. It's a great product. You know how to talk about it. You say all the things that people need to know. I feel like what you're very good at, Tom, when you do your shows is you're saying the things people are thinking about, right? When they're watching, like, well, but can it do, what would I use it for? And you're like, well, use it for this, use it for that. How about this?
That's the old infomercial in me. That if the customer has a question, that stops sales.
Yes.
And if a guy's avoiding a particular topic, it's probably because if you knew the answer to that question, you wouldn't buy. Yes. Like yesterday I was shopping for this. I saw this interesting book light on. I'm not going to say anything. Shit, I might have to edit that out.
Okay.
Somebody might watch the show and see about something else. Anyway. I was, where was I going with this? Anyway, something about answering questions, infomercials. Yeah, I'm sure.
Was it good? You went right into infomercial. You said, "Oh, this thing happened with an infomercial." I don't know.
Yeah, if you don't answer the question, like sometimes if you're going to buy something on Amazon, right? And it's like, wow, this is really a good deal. Okay, way down on the fine print, it tells you that it's a third of the size of the thing that you wanted to get,
Yes.
Right. So not pushing up. If the thing was the proper size or the size that everybody expected, they'd be up front. Yeah, this is 12 by 16. Instead, the fine print says, this is 4 by 2. Wow, well, that's not anything I want, right?
Have you done that? Both my daughter and I have bought things we thought were normal size and they turned out to be miniature.
Yeah, that's the classic eBay mahogany desk. Mahogany table set for $12. Shipping is only 50 cents. This is crazy.
Right? Yeah, we've done that. But your earlier question about being out of control, in this particular situation, because I'm a fixer of things, I like to fix things. I like to be on time. I like things to go smoothly. I like harmony, and none of those things were working. So I kind of went into my hyper mode and I started talking out loud to myself, which is one of my topics today. And I was talking to myself. So my daughter heard me, and she's like, what do you need? What's going on? Because she could tell. She said, you sound.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, she said, you sound very, I forget the word she used, but it was accurate. Like, you sound like things aren't really going the way and I was like, okay, here's why here. And she's like, okay. And she fixed it for me. Put this here, and I was like.
There you go. You know what? I'm aggravated when kids these days pretend like they can't help, but they can help. They just don't want to help. I watch a good friend of mine. She'll call me up to get a sound check before she goes live on HSN.
Yeah.
And her kids, you could help your mom a little bit more than you are. She can't hook up the AirPods. You know the answers. You just wanted to do something else.
Yeah, no, that's a very true statement. So I want to hear your topics because definitely talking to yourself was one of mine.
I wanted to say something about being frazzled and being
Oh,
being
yes.
in a what was it? What did you say? Out of control?
Out of control.
It's funny. So one thing that's the two things that I probably you and I share on broadcasting from home for home shopping. I hate to talk about it. It's just a thing. It's not a big thing. It's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Two things is they always wait to the last second for me to hook you up. 3 minutes
Yes.
to go, and it's like I got to square up my shot. I got to even and
Yeah.
it's stress inducing. And the
Yes.
second thing is, okay, I'm on at 1:45 and it is 1:05. I've got 40
Yes.
minutes to think about whatever.
Yes.
It's like I can't
Yes.
read a book. I don't want to get involved. I got to stay away. You got that medium, awareness
Yes.
you've got to be on. So today I created a situation. I had a 7 a.m. show, which is great,
Yes.
but it's earlier than I usually get up. I usually sleep to about 8:30.
Okay.
I was up at 6:15. So I do the show. I go, okay, I'm going to go back to bed because my next show is not till noon.
Okay.
Because I know if I don't get my 8 hours in, it's going to be a draggy day for grumpy old
Yeah.
Tom. Right? So then I get up and for some reason, I thought the show was at 11. I realized, oh no, it's not till 12 and it's like 10:15. And I've got some orders to process and some stuff to do. And so I'm looking at the clock. It's 11:30 and I'm saying, I can drive over to my storage. I can get some boxes. I can put some labels on things. I could go to Staples, drop these off, and get back in time for the show. Rather than stand around for 48 minutes, I could get something done.
My heart rate is up so high right now.
But then if anything goes wrong, flat tire, the light is broken, accident, anything goes wrong between here and the 12 minutes away that all that stuff is, it's going to be, I'm up shit creek.
I know you're very chill about your shows and about saddling in at the last minute. You're very chill. You woke up at what time for a 7 o'clock show? 6:15?
Oh yeah, but I had the alarm set for 6:30. I slept and I was at top of the hour. I was top of 7.
And good for you that you can do that, because if I had a 7 a.m. show, I'd be up at 5 a.m.
So anyway, it's like, I'm dropping it off at the UPS store at Staples. It's noon and I'm on at 12:24 and my GPS says I'm 12 minutes away. So if everything goes right, I'm going to walk in the house at 12:12 with 12 minutes to get ready. So listen to this. As I walk into the house and I'm setting my phone on, getting the Wi-Fi set up. I've done that so many times. I know what I'm doing.
I know.
So as I'm doing it, but you never know. You never know. You never know. Bluetooth doesn't connect. Phone's running out of batteries. Your wife.
But sometimes they change your show time. If someone sells out, you could be on earlier.
As I'm walking in the house, my phone, not just a call, it's the Skype call from home shopping. 15 minutes earlier than I expected because I'm on at 12:24. This is fascinating information for everybody.
No, what did you do? What did you do?
So I'm expecting the call around 12:19, something like that, 5 minutes before I go on. Well, it's 10 after. It's 10 after 12. It's 10 minutes early. I go, what? So long story short, they were selling out of the item before me. And as I was on Mr. TV about 8 minutes sooner than I thought I was going to be on. So I no sooner got that thing squared up and got my Bluetooth in and sat down and 5, 4, coming to you.
It's too much. It's too
great.
much.
It was great. I love not having to sit around killing all that time.
That is a bold move, sir, that you did, leaving your location before a live show.
Oh.
Bold.
Now I've got the afternoon to get the place is undone. I'm still giving away product. And it's a huge mess. The garage is now in the driveway. Oof.
That's what happens before a move. Everything is kind of tangled up, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the
Yes,
process.
ma'am.
And your show went well, I take it.
Yeah, sold out. The pitch is bulletproof. It's not me. It's the product's got to be right. The price has got to be right. It's got to be the right price point. And I was just talking to the vendor about that the other day. I says, plus, it's having a product this time of year. I've had hot products that have sold out in November.
Yes.
I've had, December 1st. Oh, we're out of water lights. We sold out of the binoculars around Thanksgiving. I said, and then she told me, she goes, this is all a happy accident. We over ordered. We had suppliers cancel, so we've got product. I said, well, there you go. You're the queen of the prom as we're coming down the stretch. I mean, I'm scheduled 11 times in the last 2 days, which is a lot. Usually you a couple of shows a week is pretty comfortable pace for me. So so them having the product in direct shipment, they don't ship to the warehouse. They don't have to wait for China. They've got some in. This is fascinating information.
Well, for people that always say, oh, I want your job or I want to do that, all the behind the scenes stuff has to magically fall into place for it to be a winning thing. And that's the thing people don't understand. Like, you could be great at your job, but if your host is having a bad day or the producer's having a bad day, everything does have to line into place. But the fact that you could walk in the door and do a show like that, like, I probably won't be able to sleep tonight just knowing that happened.
That was exciting. Here we go. Get that thing squared up. Can you move to your right a little bit? Yes, I can. Can you move the camera down a little bit? Yes, I can. Here we go. 5, 4. Here we go.
Dude, please don't ever do that again.
Well, the pitch is bulletproof. And you're right. It's funny. And I wish everybody who has ever been on the air, on TV selling something, or guests and or hosts should look at the process of what has to happen behind the scenes for something to get on TV for 7 minutes. It's thousands of dollars invested. It's QA procedures. It's labeling. It's shipping. It's B-roll. It's a presentation. People, mortgage their houses to get this shit on. And then you have a host having a bad day, or a guest is just thinking about, this is I'm going to make $300 and I'm going to be on my way. It's like, no, this is somebody's livelihood. This is somebody's life. I was watching Shark Tank the other day, and it's like two very smart guys. I mean, astrophysicists were working on a gadget, and it's like a sleep aid. You put it on as a mask, and it kind of illuminated so it would kind of ease you into the day. It's an interesting one, but they're spending a lot of money. One guy invested $750,000 in a baby carriage carrier.
I know.
Wow. Patent. And then the shark guys go, we don't think so.
Yeah. Oh, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I think I told you this story, but I'll share it anyway because it's a behind the scenes. I had a product from a vendor. It was going to be a one hit to see how it was going to do. And so they gave it fairly decent morning hour, right? And it was in kitchen. I was selling a silicone gadget that you could make cake pops with. Yeah. So I spent weeks preparing the food. I didn't want to spend the extra money to use people in the kitchen. I did all this stuff. My daughter was helping me. I meet with the host, and something happens between the host and another host. And this host gets her feelings hurt, and she gets mad at me because the other host asked me a question, and she felt like I wasn't respecting her time. So she walked out in mid-conversation. So I went to get her, and she just put her hand up like, no. We go live on air with these cake pops. And, there's things to share. There's things I need to tell her. She no longer wants to hear, right? Some of them are just simply props. I don't want her to touch. Some of them are for her to try and eat, but I didn't get to ask her if she wanted to eat them. So here's what happens. She grabs one, of course, without asking me. Thankfully, it was a real one. It had caramel in it, right? So as it starts oozing out. She literally says, now, any other host, even if you're mad at me, you got to think about the vendor, the manufacturer, what it took to get to this moment, to get on live television. She squishes it open so it breaks, it oozes, and she says to the camera, oh, what's this?
Oh, no.
Not like, look at this ooey gooey yummy caramel that could be in your mouth. So the whole thing I was scrambling. I'm sure I looked panicked.
It's so aggravating.
They would never show the product. They said no, they never. And the vendor's crying to me, I've spent all my money. I felt sick about it. What do you do? I mean, what do you do when everybody has to work together?
Right. No doubt about it.
And I'll never forgive that host. I'll never forgive her for what she did. It was just heartbreaking.
Okay. We've got 2 special guests joining us right now.
Yes.
And I have another story. Remind me to tell another QVC story that I watched.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Let's see what happens. Ready. This is going to be exciting. You don't have any idea what's happening.
No, today's just one of those days I'm going to roll with whatever's going on. because I have no idea. We haven't even mentioned topics yet, but
No.
we're gonna roll with two live guests. Are they your horses? Do you have your horses on
Come on,
Zoom?
it's Faye.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, look who's here.
I'm
Better
Melinda.
Melinda.
Madison and Spencer. Madison's got the pink hair, Spencer does
Madison
not.
and Spencer. Oh, I haven't seen your beautiful faces in a while. Hi,
It's
girls.
been so long. How are you?
Pretty good, considering we're, in a pandemic and everything,
Yeah.
right?
Hanging in there.
Yeah, hanging in there. You guys look great. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
The girls just finished their classes. They were teaching classes, what, till about 10 o'clock this morning?
Yeah.
Around then.
Hence the
I wanna-
letter.
I wanted to bring them in so they could talk a little bit about working from home and kind of
Yes.
any type of cultural things that they're seeing with the kids they're working with. So, ladies, explain what you're doing, please.
Sure. Go ahead. Okay. So what we've been doing actually for the past year since before the pandemic, we teach English to kids in China online. The hours are a little crazy. We wake up at like 3:30 most mornings because the time is so different in China. And we give one-on-one lessons to kids, maybe youngest 4 years old. The oldest I think I've taught is like 14. So it's a pretty big range of age and also where they're at with their English. But yeah, so it's been really great, I think, to like meet all these kids and see a little peek into like their life and help them with their English. But
Yeah. And we've been really fortunate to be able to work from home like throughout this. So definitely lucky for that.
So you see, the girls tell me that they want the full makeup for the teachers, right?
yeah, it's like it definitely helps. I mean, especially waking up at that in the middle of the night. It's definitely
It'd be a little
helpful.
rough.
I've tried a couple times to do it without makeup. I'm like, oh, I only have one class. I'll just go in. And my student was just like, teacher, your face. And I was like, oh no. But luckily the classroom camera that we teach in, the platform has a built-in beauty filter, which is nice when you're like rolling in there, put on that beauty filter, and it does wonders.
Oh my gosh. So culturally, is that a thing then, that how you look is important?
I think it's I mean, yes, but also I think it's similar here where it's more of like you're just showing up to like work, so you want to be somewhat presentable.
Yeah.
So that's the same. And I think like from like a marketing ourselves standpoint, it probably doesn't hurt to like look cute. But I know like there's a lot of teachers in Facebook groups of like other teachers working for the same platform. They're like, no, I just roll out 5 minutes before class. They're just rolling. So like it works for those people too, whatever your style is.
Right.
But yeah, so I think it's a mixed bag, I think, depending on what people are going for.
They're called VIP kids, aren't they? Something like that.
Yeah. Mhm.
I was out with somebody a while back, and I was describing what you girls do, and they said, "Oh, and then the woman said, "Oh, VIP kids." I wanted to do that. She was a teacher. Then I told her what the hours were. I go, "Oh no," she said, "No, that's not gonna work."
Yeah, it's great because I mean you can teach since you're just at home. You can pretty much do it from anywhere. The people, it's American teachers who are hired, but you can live anywhere in the world because they want the North American English accent. So the teachers who are in Europe and stuff, it's great hours. It's just like normal like daytime hours. People in California, it's terrible. It's worse than here. But so we're kind of in the middle.
Yeah, and in Chicago, we are usually getting up at 2:30 for lessons. So
They want the North American accent, so when our Chinese overlords tell us what we should be doing, that there won't be any questions.
No confusion.
Yeah, we need to understand our orders for sure. Well, so what are the goals? What does VIP kids mean? I don't know what that is.
It's just the company name there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're taking these classes after the regular class, usually about 4 p.m. till I guess as late as 10 p.m. in China.
Yeah, I think 9 p.m., 10 p.m. is like the cutoff. So it's like a supplemental class that the kids they take online after school for just extra
Yeah.
English practice.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
really popular. I think they have almost 100,000 teachers now, like teaching this
Wow.
platform, and like several hundred thousand
A lot of
students.
kids.
So it's really
Wow.
like really popular in China to supplement with like outside English classes, because the class sizes in China are huge compared to here. It's
Okay.
like 50 or 60 kids in a class.
Mm.
So even if
Wow.
they're taking English classes, they're not getting that one-on-one like speaking time or getting corrections or anything if they're speaking in a huge class. So it's very
Wow.
popular for the kids to take outside English classes to supplement.
How about that? So is each class like an hour long then, or how does it work?
The ones we do are 30 minutes to an hour. Most of them are 30
Most of them are
minutes.
30
Yeah.
minutes. Like occasionally
Okay.
in like higher level classes, they can do an hour-long one, but 30 minutes is like the standard for most of
Okay.
them.
Yeah, and it's
And
like,
so the kids are at all different levels, some kids, right? So how do you do that? If you have someone that really doesn't know English, how do you even handle that start out?
so the lessons are structured to start off very easy, just like teaching the alphabet, basic nouns and verbs, and we use props to help us, so like pictures,
Oh.
or like toys, different things like that
All
to help.
kinds of-
Yeah,
the
we have all
random
kinds of
stuff.
things around right now.
Like you in the back.
Yeah, exactly. And we use like some other techniques, like, you know, obviously they're speaking very slowly. We're using what's called total physical response. So we're like using a lot of gestures to like try and convey meaning
Mhm.
and help like the students you know, kind of assign meaning to different words like as they're learning it. But
Okay.
then like some of our more advanced students, like I teach some older students who are,
Yeah.
you know, learning about like global warming and like
Oh.
more like advanced concepts in like math and science and stuff in English. So it's really cool to have that variety, you know, keeps it
Nice.
fresh, exciting.
I bet. And can I ask you, because you guys have the prettiest smiles in the world, but I have learned culturally here in North America, we're smilers, and culturally other places are not. So how does that play into with these students?
Oh, that's a great question. So I know when teachers are being hired, they really encourage you to be almost as bubbly as
Oh.
possible. Yeah, to just
Oh.
I think to help kind of like take the onus of breaking the ice. So like if these kids are like feel nervous or awkward, it's a second language, or like they're really young, so like they feel shy or just not confident at all. So they want us to be very like animated and
Oh.
smiley. And I think like some of the like feedback from parents I've got before, they're like, this teacher, she likes to smile and laugh. It's
Oh.
good. I appreciate it.
But like I feel like experiencing like cultural differences like that
Mhm.
hasn't been like nothing too drastic. I mean, it feels more
Okay.
like, oh, they're all just like us over there. Like,
Yeah.
kids are kids
Okay.
and moms are moms, and it's a lot of loving families and lots of
Aw.
smiling and laughing. So it's
Oh, I love that, because you guys just really your whole face lights up. But I know it's a genuine smile. You know what I mean? You can tell it's genuine, but it's always kind of been interesting to me to hear that other cultures don't smile like we do. We're Americans are more, we just do it automatically. Even when we're scared, we smile, right?
yeah,
So I
true.
smile all the time when I'm scared. And so I just never thought before culturally in China what that, you know, how that felt, or if it would feel unnatural to the students, you know, to smile or not. So I love the idea that they ask you to be bubbly and friendly, and that's got to make your teaching so much more fun.
Yeah.
It's lots of fun
Yeah.
for sure.
I think that's like it's great. Even if you're feeling like tired, as soon as you have to like turn it on and you're in it and like having fun, and like if the student smiles and they start having fun too, then you just are having more fun. It's kind of like it's a feedback loop, a positive feedback loop, where it's just then you're like, you start when you're like, I have to smile, but then you're like, okay, I'm really smiling. This is great.
That's
Aw.
great.
I
Melinda, do
love
you have any topics that might be appropriate for the ladies to jump in on?
I mean, one that I'm definitely not going to ask him about. Okay. Well, this could be an age thing. I don't know, ladies, because you're very young, but one of my topics was talking aloud to yourself, like, when you're alone, right? Okay. So I did some studying on it because I talk a lot. I always have talked out loud to myself. So I looked it up because my joke to myself has always been, am I crazy? Is this like a normal thing? So before I tell you what I learned, tell me, do you guys do that? Like just to yourself when you're alone, or when people are in the room, do you still continue to talk to yourself? Like, what's your deal with that?
Okay. Do you know your answer? I have an answer. Okay. So my answer is, I think I've started doing it more. Maybe. Okay. I think before I almost never talk to myself out loud, but I think we also have a confounding variable that we're always with each other. Yes. So if a thought pops into my head, I'll just tell Spencer. Yeah, maybe I would say it if I had been by myself, but since I'm with someone a lot of the time, it becomes talking to someone instead. But I do feel like maybe more often I find myself, like, if I'm just walking the dog alone, I'll start talking to the dog, or like talking to myself more a little bit recently, but maybe before I hadn't at all.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say like about the same thing. Like, it's not too often that I'm just like completely alone. So there's usually someone to talk to, but I think I don't do like, I'm not saying like full sentences, maybe little explanations or something, but not conversing with myself per se.
Okay. All right. Tom, what about you?
I don't say that I talk to myself a lot, but usually if I do have a conversation with myself, it's usually lazy Tom or let's get stuff done Tom yelling at lazy Tom. And then about 30 seconds in, I'm saying, you know what, then I'll have a conversation like I am crazy, like not lazy and crazy, but something like, go ahead, try that, see how that works out for you. It's like, what's going on? I'm being possessed by somebody else.
Yeah, because before my daughter, her boyfriend moved in with me, I lived alone. And so I guess I didn't recognize how much I talked to myself. I love my companionship. So I entertain myself, and I will do what Tom, I'll be like, you're ridiculous. I'll say things like that. Right. So when I researched talking to yourself, it actually says that it's a good coping mechanism to soothe yourself, right? To like talk yourself down or to figure something out.
I can see that.
Right, Tom? And it says that when you talk to yourself, and if you feel bad about something, instead of saying like, oh, you're an idiot, because I would definitely say, you have some mental problems, Melinda. Like I would say that out loud to myself. It says that you have to reframe the negative self-talk and say things like, you know what, you put a lot of effort into this. It is taking a lot of time, but wait, give yourself some time to get on the other side of this. Which I really love, because today when I was trying to do the internet and the phone, and finally my daughter had to come in because I was talking so loudly to myself, she's like, you sound like you sound like there's something wrong. But I was breaking down my scenario and trying to figure out.
Okay, but let me say this. This is my classic situation is I know I'm going to solve this in some fashion. And isn't this exciting? I'm in the middle of some sort of problem solving event.
There you go.
That hopefully I solve. It's not going to be devastating if I don't, but let's see what I cobble together. It's kind of like watching this from outside.
That's a powerful skill, because I think it's so easy to just be like, oh, the negative self-talk is like the automatic, but to be able to switch it, make it positive, like that's powerful magic. Yeah.
I mean, I've had a flat tire in the flat tire in the parking lot, and I'm saying, rest assured, I'm not going to end my life here in the parking lot with a flat tire. Something's going to happen. I'm going to solve this in some way.
Yeah, so I like that. I've always kind of been a self-talker. I had a situation once where I had rented an Airbnb for work in Seattle, and I was videoing the house, showing my friends. It wasn't a live video. I was videoing it, and I opened the basement door and didn't look. And I didn't know there was a drop, and I hadn't turned on the light. So I fell down an entire staircase with my phone on. So luckily I didn't hurt myself. I bruised my entire body, but here's what happened. The phone was still recording. So when I played it back later, this is so funny. When I fell down the stairs, I started talking to myself and I said, okay, you fell down the stairs. Like I was self-soothing myself. And then I was like, fuck, where's my phone? Where's my phone? I could, because the phone flew out of my hands. But it was so funny to hear it later. And my niece, when I played it for her, do you guys remember baby Jessica, when baby Jessica was down in the well? The girls are probably too young.
Yeah,
Do you remember that, Tom?
that was a news story for a couple of days, right?
It was when Reagan was president. And so what
Your
happened
dog?
was this little baby girl fell down a pipe in a well and it was hard to get her out. So they put a recording device down there to make sure she was okay. And, you know, at the time, this is when we didn't have 24-hour news, right?
Yeah.
So when something happened, everybody was watching it. So her name was Jessica, baby Jessica. And she was like a toddler, like 2 years old. She started singing songs and she was self-soothing herself. So when I played the recording for my niece, she said, you're like baby Jessica. And we're just like soothing yourself, because I was telling myself, it's okay. Okay, you can move your legs. Like I did a whole thing. But I'm glad to know that talking to yourself is actually a healthy way to like figure your problems out, because I do it all the time. So
Now, I promised the girls I'll only keep them 15 minutes. Ladies, do you have a crazy story you want to tell about dad or anything like that?
oh
You've known me most of your lives.
Yeah. Yeah, roughly the whole time. A crazy story about dad.
tell me the time that not that long ago he was trying to do push-ups and he got aggravated with everybody, because that's a story.
It was chaos. It was like
chaos,
everything that could possibly go wrong suddenly was going wrong. That was your birthday, right, Dad?
Yeah, I was going to do 50 push-ups. I
Yeah,
was trying to coordinate a little something.
Yeah. So I mean, Dad has dedicatedly practicing, training, getting very strong for this birthday push-up video that was going to be made. And we had a simple job of recording it. Simple, we thought.
and counting.
And counting, which apparently both of those proved to be a lot harder than we anticipated. I think as soon as we started recording, a phone call already turned the camera off, but the counting didn't stop. Mom starts counting from the kitchen. Everyone's saying different numbers. The
Dog
dog
barking.
Everyone's running through. And I'm like, someone's called. I can't get the camera.
Oh no.
Counting. Mom's on the different numbers. It was chaotic. It was probably the
All right. Have you guys have you ever seen me mad very often in your
No.
lifetimes?
No. It wasn't real mad. I think it was more we were astounded at how everything was derailed so quickly.
That thing was tumbling down the stairs.
Yeah.
So, did you finish all your push-ups, Tom? What happened?
I think I did do the 50. I don't know that I ended up posting the recording that got me up to 18. And no, I think I wanted to do 50. I think I got it to 40. The numbers were so far off. It was like, this is ridiculous. Someone's yelling 30, someone's yelling 10. And, it was, so I didn't do it. I did do my goal, but not at that moment. There was too much chaos.
I feel
like I gotta be focused, with the blinders on to do my push-ups.
Yeah. The only reason I asked that question is because Tom had mentioned it, and he didn't sound angry, but Tom really doesn't get angry, but he sounded frustrated. I'm like, I got to get the dirt on this one, because he definitely was frustrated.
It was rightful frustration completely.
Let me ask the girls something, because this is an event that happened many, many years ago. I wanted their take on it. This is a kind of a crazy story. We went on a houseboat with our neighbors, right? So we were, I think, a couple of days on the Swanee River, something like that, because we ended up doing this 3-4 times. And then we get to dock and we're loading the truck, and, everybody in, and then we drive away. We're all done. And the car is packed because we had everything in there. And I'm like, well, what do you think, girls? And Tommy's sitting there by himself, and there's no girls in the car. We've left the dock with the girls behind.
Tommy said nothing.
He said, this is great.
I remember it pretty clearly. I mean, because it's a long process of unloading the boat, getting everything in the car, so everyone's back and forth and all set, ready to go. But I think we were just in the bathroom or something. Like, oh, let's go to the bathroom before we hit the boat.
Okay.
And we came out and we're like,
The car's gone.
the car's gone. We were probably like 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I got immediately wanting to cry. Just like, oh,
Yes.
we've forgotten. We've been abandoned.
Yes.
But I think you guys were probably only down the road like
Seconds,
10
30 seconds, 10
seconds,
seconds.
5
It
seconds.
wasn't
It
far.
was very quick. But we were already like, we've been abandoned, forgotten.
Oh my gosh. And Tommy wasn't going to say a word.
Apparently
Yeah.
not.
In his defense, I mean, there was like I feel like there was like a cooler or
It was
things
packed.
there. So it was a bit of obstructed vision, but at some point he got in the car alone and no one else got in.
Yes.
Maybe they'll forget.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's
Right.
that's a good story. Tom, I can't even imagine how you felt. I'm sure that you
Oh.
took a lot of the blame on that.
Of course, because the running joke is when everybody's in the car, I always say, you know, raise your hand if you're not here. Which
Yes.
nobody raised their hand, so I was out. I was free to go.
To be fair.
Right.
All right.
So when they talk about dad jokes, Tom is the classic. He's got them all. Tom's got all the dad jokes.
The
It's
old
the
dad
best.
jokes.
The best.
Anything, anything corny, I got it. I love it. The girls keep me on my toes though. They don't allow they censor my madness.
Yeah,
Is that
really,
true,
a little
girls?
bit.
Do you really? Do you reel them in?
We try just
Okay.
sometimes a little bit. I mean, a little guidance here and there. Like, Dad,
Yeah.
you can't say that anymore.
That's
Yeah.
like
It's not still funny.
like a race of people that aren't referred to as like this anymore.
Yeah.
We're not making fun of the way they
Keep
talk.
updated
Yes.
with the times.
What?
Yes.
All right.
That's
Well,
hilarious.
Girls, thanks for coming by. I love you so much. I'm so proud
Love
of you,
you,
girls.
Dad. Thanks
Thanks
for
for
Oh,
having
I love
us.
you girls too. It's so nice
We
to
love
see
you.
you.
Bye
All right.
Guys.
I'll be-
Bye.
I'll see you.
Bye.
I'm coming over. I'll see you in a little bit.
See you later, Dad.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Let yourselves out. Let yourselves out. What they say? Let yourself. They say in China, let yourselves out with a crick.
I meant to ask them to say something in Chinese. So they knew Chinese before.
Oh, for God's sakes! Why didn't you ask that? They're great
I
at
was
that.
I asked a lot of questions and I felt like I needed to pull it back.
Well, no. Well, in addition to teaching English to Chinese students, they're both taking online Chinese courses. In Spencer is a little bit, you know, she started like 6-8 weeks ahead of Maddie, so she's a little bit
Okay.
advanced. But they speak, gosh darn it, we'll have to have them back. They speak
Yeah.
Chinese like crazy. That's not a problem.
That's so fantastic. How fun for them. And especially in today's times, working from home is the hot thing to do right now. So what a great job if you have that many students. Anybody that's watching our show, if you want to do that, it sounds like there might be some job opportunities.
Yeah, you've got to be up for the odd hours. Although, I mean, the girls do, 6 to 8 classes a day, and maybe even more than that sometimes. But, you know, I'm sure that there's people that don't want the 4 to 6 shift, and they'll pass on those, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost six shows that they could do, or 6 classes.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're paying their bills this way. This is what they're paying their bills doing this. So it's not like it's just a hobby or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
No,
making
it's
enough money to pay
amazing.
those.
What a fun job. What a really
Yeah.
fun job. You can tell by them talking about the loving families and stuff. You get to see other home environments, which is so interesting.
And that's how, remember you asked me the other day or a couple months ago about, you know, what I would advise people to do. And my answer was travel. You know, it wasn't
Yeah.
earth shattering, but how could you possibly hate on Chinese people if you're engaging with families and their children, right? I mean, we're all the
Right.
same. How could you hate on people from the Middle East or people from Russia or whatever?
That's right.
You get all this hate in your heads because you don't know what's going on, but you're seeing
Right.
somebody putting their 7-year-old, they're investing in their 7-year-old learning English, you know, in second
Yeah.
grade. And of course, we all want the same for our kids, right?
Yeah. I mean, we gotta humanize each other. That seems to be something that's missing with us right now. We've decided to put people in categories like this group does this.
Right.
Like, that's not really fair. That's not really
No.
fair. I think you're right. I think for the most part, human beings want to have a peaceful, happy life, right? Want to be
Of
connected.
course, unless they get indoctrinated in some fashion at an early age,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
You want to do another topic or two? We've only got about 10 minutes or so. I'm
Oh, we
sorry.
do?
I
All right.
dominated the conversation and the host and the guests.
No, that's totally fine. So, talking out loud was one of my topics, which we did with the girls. I have another topic called "Who Should You Call?" I had one topic called "Today," but now I don't even want to talk about it because today was shitty for me. But it's better now. I don't like it when I don't handle things well. I don't like it when I feel jacked up about things. I need to learn to, hey, it's just a Wi-Fi thing, man. Like everything's going to be fine. But when I feel like someone's waiting on me and I'm not there, it stresses me out pretty hard. So you want to talk about who should you call?
Please.
So this is my topic for, I know in today's world, people like to text. I know that. And I know that it's become the running joke. If your phone rings, it's kind of like, who is that? Because people like to text as to call. I think our generation, our era people, we're very familiar with speaking to another human being on the phone. Some of my friends now prefer the FaceTime or the Zoom call, which always throws me for a loop because I like to have some prep time. I feel like if someone does a Zoom or FaceTime, it's the same as you knocking on my front door because you're in my house now, right? So I like some prep time. So my question to you is, Tom, do you have anybody in your life that could maybe use a phone call from you during these times? Is there anybody that you think of that you should be like, hey, I'm just thinking about you. How you doing? You doing all right?
That's a very good question. And you know what? I should call more people. I mean, the list is short, but I know a buddy of mine lives in St. Pete, and gosh, I'm sure he's not talking to a lot of people, living by himself. We text or we kind of engage a bit on Facebook. He posts something, I circle back. But we're getting freaking so old now. Yeah, probably not going to have. You better take care of your old friends.
Well, what made me think of it was, when I lost Reagan about a week ago, people reached out to me that I hadn't heard from in a long time, and I was so moved by the kindness of people. Like I was so moved by people taking that extra step, reaching out to me. And I thought, you know what, I should do a better job during this time of just checking on some people I noticed that have gotten quiet. I have a friend that disappeared off of social media totally. And I haven't reached out to him to say, are you,
Right.
okay?
You never know why people dip out. It was like, oh yeah, I haven't heard from that person in a long time.
Yeah. So I started making a list of people that I felt like I should reach out to. So that's my goal this next week, is to spend a little bit more time with reaching out to people that I feel like have gotten quieter, that I think maybe, just say, it changed me in such a big way when I would just get a sweet text message saying, I'm thinking about you. I'm so sorry about Reagan. Is there anything I can do? Like, it just fills your heart when
Absolutely.
people are kind,
Yeah.
So
like that if you're using Facebook just to vent steam and correct people, you're using it the wrong way. I love seeing people that I know have connected via me at a brunch, chatting on Facebook. I love when I post something, you get 25 likes and a few comments. Oh yeah, so I remember. You remember that guy? I used to work with him, and that was an old neighbor. It's like, I love this.
Yeah, well, because of you, I friend requested Chuck, so Chuck and I are friends now.
There you go. We're making it big. Are you friends with Paula yet?
I'm friends with Paula because of you, Chuck because of you, Austin because of you.
Yes.
Steve Laszlo because of you.
Lazar. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And so I like that too. I like reaching out, but I'm going to make that. So I'm asking anybody that's listening to make a concentrated effort to maybe reach out. If you're not comfortable calling, send a text.
Yes.
It is nice to hear someone's voice though. Just,
absolutely.
Just for that phone call.
I was talking to the girls the other day, and we were talking about this topic. You can see how the girls are generally upbeat and positive, and they've got themselves. And I'm like, I get stressed out. I'm by myself a lot, and things are going relatively well for me. But I said, gosh, anybody with a little bit less, if you get a little bit of stress, it gets multiplied. Yeah. In this time, so yeah, if I'm feeling stressed, then somebody who's generally stressed is probably really stressed. I mean, this is a horrible time. People can't pay the rent. They're not working. They're trying to take care of their kids. If I had a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old that wasn't going to school, and I had to go somewhere. I was a waiter, and I had to go somewhere. Who's watching my kids? What's going on? This is it's upside down. It's madness. It's very stressful.
Yeah, I recommend, I think it's on Netflix. It's called Social Distancing. They did little vignettes of stories, what it's like during the pandemic. Someone that had to work in a nursing home, someone that whose spouse got sick. It's a very interesting perspective of how other people are living right now. Because I was talking to my niece on the phone yesterday, and she works in a school. And I said, 50 years from now, when they talk about the time of the pandemic, I think they're going to question a lot of the choices we made, which the number one is, why did we keep sending little children to school? Why didn't we right away take care of our children?
Well, it's an interesting thing. It's easy to say keep everybody home, and I follow the science. But I'm saying if you got people who have to work, they can't watch their 7-year-olds. So it's easy to say. So it's hard to say. It's New York bringing younger kids back to school last week.
Yes, they did. And then they just closed indoor dining. So you can go to school, but you can't eat in a restaurant. So what in the holy fuck is that?
Well, it's all madness because we've lacked consistent leadership at the top. Let's come up with a plan that works anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if anything else, hopefully we've learned some lessons, and hopefully as we move forward, we'll do better, because this did kind of take us, I think, what?
I was thinking, if I may circle back to a thought that you had, because
Yeah.
we're in the middle of it right now.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a podcast on NPR, and they were interviewing famous female historic writer. Okay.
Okay.
And she was the one, she wrote the book that Spielberg used for Lincoln.
Oh, okay.
And her point, and I apologize for not having her name, but her point was, when you're writing a history book, write it from the perspective of not knowing how it comes out. Because we know how World War I and World War II ended, but we don't know how this is going to end.
Right.
Virus comes out of nowhere. Vaccine shows up 12 months later. A lot of dead people. I mean, we're in the middle of it. It looks like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but she said you can't write history by assuming the end. You've got to, read letters that people wrote to their
Yes.
letters that they wrote to the generals at the time. It was very interesting. It was an interesting point about, you got to engage in the moment. And then we're in it. We're in the middle. We're in the middle of one of my,
Right.
scenarios where I wonder how this is going to come out.
Well, I think it's important. People should journal and track what's going on, because the things that may seem insignificant to you, just your daily life. What is your daily life like right now? Because mine is very different.
It was interesting because she also kept a journal as a historian. She counted on people who, Joseph Seward, the guy that put the Alaskan thing together, he kept a journal. So she counted on the journal. And then she said herself, she stopped journaling when her mom died. It was just too sad for her. And then, she didn't pick it up for 20 years after that. She wished she had journaled, but she says, you're right. It's important to journal.
Yeah, it really is. I started journaling just about Reagan, the dog that I lost, just because I'm starting to recognize, obviously we're all sad. We're all sad when we lose a pet. For me personally, because she was with me towards the end of my marriage, my divorce, my big transitions in life. She was my source of support through a lot of really big changes in my life.
And I dated a woman with the same thing, had a dog that she, went through a lot of different, marriages.
And to have, I recognized in myself, I like to nurture and I like to love on things, and I miss it, right? Because whenever you're feeling sad, you can love on your dog, and I miss, not having that. So I think journaling for anybody now is really important. And also, please reach out to people. Please reach out to anyone. Whether you're concerned about them or not, these are hard times for all of us. Amen. And everybody's feeling stressed. So just reach out to people, text or phone call, however you can, just to make that connection.
And that's your public service announcement for today. And it's worthy, and it's a good one. And then have a good weekend. We're just about out of time, darling.
Okay. So
yeah,
we teased this the last show. So definitely on Monday, we're going to talk about men and women's sexual fantasies. I couldn't dare talk about it when the girls were on.
I know. And I had a text from that the other day. Somebody private messaged me. He says, hey, will you send me that when you're done with that show, will you send that to me? I said, did you want to come on the show? Did you want to participate? Oh, no. Yeah.
Anybody can join in, but yes, Monday we will talk about, because I did quite a bit of research and I want your feedback on it. Men and women are quite different in that area, as to be expected.
Very good. All right.
So have a happy weekend.
Have a happy weekend. I'm on selling cup calls all weekend, looks like.
Yeah, you are. Yes, you are.
I'm a hot
Well,
property. Yes,
I'm Melinda McKinsey.
I'm Tom Wise.
Thank you for unpacking your shit with us today. And thank the girls for joining us. That was lovely.
Lovely Madison and Spencer Wise. All right.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Thanks.